Well, as promised, we're going to be bringing you some of the best car reviews of 2015. At Surfer Cars, we wanted to mix it up. Today we're out at Midvaal Raceway. We're going to be looking at the Suzuki Swift Sport, driven none other than by Martin Pretorius.
There is something to be said for the simple joys of a really normally aspirated engine, lightweight, predictable front-wheel drive handling and a slick manual gear change. This is real motoring, an interaction between the driver, the machine and the elements.
And the man behind the wheel, who needs no further introduction. Martin, you're in your element here. Looks like you're having a lot of fun, as usual. So take us through some of the specs of the Suzuki Swift Sport.
Well, yes, this is the Suzuki Swift Sport, which means it's the only 1.6 litre engine in the range. It's the biggest engine Swift you can get. It might only be a 1.6, but it packs 100 kilowatts, right at the top of the rev range.
Okay.
But there's a downside. With all that high rev fun, there isn't a lot of torque because there's no turbocharger. Only 160 Newton meters means you have to stir the gearbox to keep it on the go.
Now that's what I heard when during your practice runs, that the revs were right up, especially on some of the corners that you're taking. That's because of the low end torque.
That's because of the relative lack of low end torque. Luckily, it's not a problem to go hunt for the power at high revs because the gearbox is beautifully slick. It's click like a rifle bolt. It just slices through the gears, and that's actually part of the car's enjoyment.
Right, with the 6-speed transmission, what's your opinion, or how did you find it on the track, especially through the corners?
Well, the gear ratios are very well chosen. There is enough range in each gear to keep the car in the power, but if you do drop below the power band, it's best to grab the next lower one.
Now you've brought us out to the track here at Midvaal Raceway.
Yeah.
Why?
This car is so much fun, but part of its fun derives from being able to drive it as fast as it could go without fear of falling off the road. So the best way to enjoy it is to bring it to the racetrack and let it roam free. So you'd look at the spec sheet on the Swift Sport and you'd say, but hang on, it's only a little 1.6 and there's no turbo, there's no nothing. In an era where something like a Ford Fiesta ST boasts 132, the Peugeot goes up to 147, Polo GTI, you know, all these other small hatchbacks have so much more power than this. But the funny thing is, it doesn't really bug you. You have to really interact with the car to get the power. But when you do, it's very satisfying. The 0 to 100 sprint is dispatched in 8.7 seconds, and that's about on par with an old 2-litre Opel Kadett or a Golf 2 GTI. It doesn't really matter because there's enough power to keep up with traffic. You can cope with the highway easily enough. If you need to overtake, drop a few gears and you can do it. Not really a car for lazy people, but it's fun to operate. The suspension is very well set up to keep all 4 tyres in contact with the road, and there's enough compliance to deal with mid-corner bumps, as you'll see when I go over this patchwork while cornering. Now normally this sort of treatment would throw a car off the road. There we go, and we're on the concrete patch, and the Suzuki is simply unfazed by that. So while the ride is firm on the road as well, it's never unbearably so, and it never starts hopping or skipping about. But the big thing about this car is the handling. You point it in a direction and it goes exactly where you need it to go. If you need to tighten the line coming out of a corner or midway through, a gentle throttle lift will bring the back end around, tightens your line nicely, but it never snaps, it never bites, it's never aggressive, it's never too much. It responds immediately. So even a trip to the shops or a Sunday afternoon cruise, it's still fun, even if you don't go all out. And that is what makes this car such an absolute bargain. It's fun, it's enjoyable, even when you're not going all out. This highest performing of the Swift bunch averages 6.7 liters per 100. Even here on track, nailing it, gunning it from corner to corner, flat out, second, third, fourth gears. It never goes over 7.1 liters per 100. And that is a remarkable figure for a car with this ability. You don't have a myriad of electronic filters between the steering wheel and the road. You can just get in and it's you and the car and the elements the way it's supposed to be.
After collecting Dean from the pit lane, I took him out on track with me to show him what the Suzuki Swift is really all about. His face should tell the whole story.
And then obviously the tail slides. I see you getting a bit nervous there. Nice, okay. There we go.
It's nice, eh? This was a lot of fun. I had such a thrill in this car.
Yes, it is such a great driver's car. Do you now understand why I'm totally in love with the Swift Sport?
I'm actually beginning to clearly understand. Now here at Midval Raceway, if we could have had another car to compare to the Suzuki Swift Sport, which car would have it been?
I'd say the only direct competitor this Swift Sport has would be the Chevy Sonic RS. The Sonic has a bit more torque, so it's easier to live with. It has more interior space and a larger boot. But when you start extending the car's dynamic abilities, the Sonic kind of falls apart. Whereas the more you ask of this car, the more it delivers.
Price-wise, I mean, value for money, does this car have value for money?
Absolutely. It comes standard with the xenon headlights and keyless entry and nice 16-inch alloys and sport seats and Bluetooth preparation. Everything you could reasonably want is there, as it is in the Sonic RS. This is a little bit cheaper though. This car comes to you to the market at only 234,000 Rand. And that makes it extremely good value for money. You can get a Volkswagen Polo or something equally serious for the same money, but you will not have as much fun as with this one. Well, there's still a bit of daylight time, so I'm going to go out and play again.
All right, well, Martin, thanks again.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Dean.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching our review on the Suzuki Swift Sport. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Also, a big thank you to Midval Raceway for allowing us to use their facilities. Until next time, drive safe.
So do I take over now?